like to welcome you back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn, coming at you live from the East Coast. And I'm reporting on day 6 that we're entering of this Los Angeles protest that's been happening. You guys don't know there's been protests that have been happening in Los Angeles, California for the policies of the Trump administration in deporting migrants. There had been ICE operations that were put into play around the country. When they got to the Los Angeles area, the ICE or deportation operations that were put into play were hindered by people that were showing up, and one thing led to another, in which more and more people kept showing up, hindering the process of the operations conducted by ICE. What the hell? And it lasted throughout 6 days. You know, last night I've been reporting on these protests, riots that ensued for the last couple of days, and the one thing that has changed throughout the 6 days was that last night they actually put a curfew into effect. The mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, had put a effect curfew into effect, uh, which would go into motion at 8 p.m. Los Angeles time last night, and I believe it was going to last up until 6 a.m. this morning, which is in 15 minutes as I'm recording this live video. Um, it's about 8:45 here in the East Coast, New York City time. So in about 15 minutes, the curfew, which began last night at 8 p.m., implemented by Karen Bass, will be lifted, and the protest could resume as normal. Um, I'm actually watching a live stream by a channel called AXN News on YouTube, and he was recording throughout the night. Um, again, I want to thank this channel, and if you guys please could subscribe to him. His name is AXN, the letters A, the letter X, the letter N News, and he was live streaming uh, video in the Los Angeles area while this curfew was ongoing. So I'm pretty sure he started at about 8, and he has 8 hours of live stream video, which I'm viewing now as I'm recording the video this morning to you. And you could basically see no gatherings, in essence. Like, he's driving around the whole area. You do see a large presence of regular LAPD police, and you also have what I find interesting is that I haven't seen any presence of the military, which, if you guys don't know, in reaction to the riot that ensued after these protests, Trump ordered the National Guard into Los Angeles, in addition to, I believe, 700 Marines, U.S. Marines. And you've seen them as far as their equipment and whatnot, and you see people that have military uniforms, but I'm not sure if those are necessarily military. Like, but on this evening, in which the curfew has been put into play, the one interesting thing you do see as this guy is driving around in, and I'll show you the video as I put it. An interesting thing that you do see is no military presence. This guy's driving around different areas, though. I'll go back to the early portions of this video. But what you do see is no military and just cops driving as they do in New York in a sense. Like in New York, you'll see many instances. And again, I'm speaking from experience. I grew up in New York, but you see many instances in which you see tons of cops all over the place. They like for the UN General Assembly that happens every September, as an example. But on days like that where you see cops pretty much everywhere you go, like like in New York City, you'll see a siren or a the police lights every couple of blocks. It's kind of like what I'm seeing in Los Angeles this evening, like where every so often you see like police lights, and he's driving through Los Angeles proper, downtown Los Angeles, what it looks like. Again, I've never been here, but you see a large scale police presence throughout, and it pretty much see there's a small crowd here in this video, but I actually think police. Well, no, that's not police, but there was a small crowd, and he was following the activity throughout the night, like on a police scanner. So you have small gatherings, but by and large, it didn't look like anybody like really going ham and tearing things up. And I didn't watch the entirety of this video. I'm just kind of like fast forwarding and trying to get to see if there were any good parts. I did see somebody like crack the window. Like it looked like in an area that didn't look anything like this, like no downtown area. It looked kind of like an outskirt area. Um, but having said that, though, by and large, everything looks to be pretty much died down. Like as far as during this curfew, I mean, it doesn't look like there's highways that are. It doesn't look like there's really these even streets like these. Like I mean, like streets like these that'll probably get busy once it's regular hours at daytime. But the LAPD or the California police, without the presence of the military, has brought Los Angeles from a condition of out and out riots to what you see now, which is pretty, tranquil, calm streets. Again, you saw like a cop car that was parked in the cut. So what I like, what you do see right now is a high police presence, um, but no rioting. Again, I'm not one of these people that likes the prospect of dealing with police or seeing police, but I rather see a large amount of police than a riot. And I think most people would feel that way. And Los Angeles and the authorities in Los Angeles have the capability with the personnel that they have on hand to give you this, no riots, you know, a calm night. They could bring the conditions to how they are during the curfew at any time, particularly if there's destruction that's happening. Some people are going to say, oh, there's only a little bit of destruction. Like, no, when there's destruction happening, things are getting out of hand. That should be the rules. When there's destruction happening, you got to make it to where there's no destruction happening. And the Los Angeles authorities, the California authorities, which are in use tonight to enact this curfew, again, seeing that you don't see any military presence, they have the capability and the ability to bring it to no riots at any point. Um, I also wanted to talk about the presence. That's one of the stray cats. She's not. She's sort of a kitten, but she's still pretty wild. Sunshine. She's mean. Sunshine. Say hi, Sunshine. Yeah, she's very mean. But I want to talk about Trump's reaction to all this, because a lot of the news media was bringing or making it seem as if the big story in this Los Angeles riot was the fact that Trump, in quotes, escalated this situation by calling in troops. But that to is a statement that's kind of hard to make, seeing what we're seeing this evening. This evening, after Karen Bass enacted this curfew, I'm pretty sure with the there's some running happening here. I'm pretty sure with the help of the governor of California, this evening when they enacted their curfew, the riots or the rioting, the vandalism stopped in essence, or they have the capability of controlling this. But they're choosing not to in essence. So Trump's decision as the president of the whole nation, and seeing that Los Angeles is probably the second biggest city in America after my hometown, New York. I mean, what choice does he have in a sense but to call more authorities that are at his disposal, or more people that are at his disposal rapidly. So he did call the military. But if you tally all the number of military that Trump called in, like according to the mainstream media, this is not I'm not trying to give coverage to MAGA, like a lot of people would conclude, simply because I speak against liberal talking points. If you speak against liberal talking points in today's society, some may try to paint you as a racisms. Um, However, I'm not trying to defend the decision in Trump calling in troops, but if he had troops at his disposal and he could have stopped the rioting, you got to stop the rioting. Having said that, though, the amount of troops that Trump had ordered to go to Los Angeles, according to the mainstream media, again, is between 2,000 to 3,000. They've actually given like a hard number. Like I don't know what that number is. I think there was 1,700 troops, 700 Marines. Uh, so and if there were more, it wasn't much more than the numbers that I said. At, as far as groupings that were added to that, so you're probably talking at most 4,000 troops, and that's a pretty reasonable number, honestly. I mean, if you were to tell me, like, listen, Los Angeles has a riot situation that needs to be stopped tonight, um, and it seemed as if the authorities in California can't take control of this city being rioted upon, um, do we either A, let them try to get the situation under control when it looks like, according to them, they can't, even though this evening it looks like they could, or B, send in 4,000 or less troops? I mean, that's an easy answer for me. I'm going to send in the troops. They're already getting paid. Why not? But having said that, did Trump send in 20,000 troops? He could have. I mean, you have Camp Pendleton, not too far from, a 2 hour drive from Los Angeles, with some of the toughest military in the world, a few miles from Los Angeles, down in Camp Pendleton. If hope I'm not butchering that. Trump could have called in half of Camp Pendleton. I mean, you're probably talking at least 15,000 troops. Um, and this is not National Guardsmen. This is the toughest of the tough Marines. young ones too, nut jobs. And they would that he could have done that, but he didn't. I mean, like it looks like as if the number of troops that Trump ordered it to go to Los Angeles during this time was numbered about 3 to 4 thousand. I mean, and it shows. I mean, this situation could have been controlled by California because I mean that's what we're seeing right now. You're not seeing military vehicles all over the place. What you're seeing is police presence all over the place, but you're also not seeing rioting happening. You're not seeing destruction happening. So why can't they bring these conditions over the weekend when you see police vehicles being destroyed, regular civilian vehicles being destroyed, the destruction of businesses? This is something that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, could have under control, and they chose not to. So, again, I mean, in T minus 2 minutes, the curfew is going to be lifted, and the protests are going to resume. This is not a live stream of, again, the protest. This is a channel. You guys could please subscribe to AXN News, which I'm utilizing his live stream to show the actions of this past evening while the curfew was still in place between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And right now it's 9 a.m. or close to New York City time, and the curfew in a few minutes should be lifted in Los Angeles when it's 6 a.m. Western West Coast time. So we'll be watching, I guess, the or speaking during the beginning of the protest resuming once the curfew is lifted. And are they going to maintain this? Because technically they could maintain this right here. I mean, like, are going to show up in droves? I mean, like, technically they don't have a permit too. I mean, because this is lasting throughout several days now. I mean, and again, you got to bring the actions of what they were calling an insurrection uh, just a couple years ago. There's a garbage truck coming to my block. I mean, if you guys forgive me. But what they were calling an insurrection just a couple years ago, which were basically the activities of one morning and an afternoon. Um, but that same evening, everything had quieted down at the Capitol. And the level of destruction didn't equate to what we see here in California. Um, and this is kind of an attitude that's nurtured in places like California. And I haven't been to Los Angeles. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna go to Los Angeles ever. I mean, maybe I can't say never, but I've been to San Francisco. I've been to. I didn't go to San Francisco intentionally, believe me. I landed in San Francisco, but I've been to Monterey, California, Pacific Grove, California, Carmel. Like some of the most beautiful parts of California and the world are some of the parts I've been to, and it's probably the best place in the world, honestly. Like California's ill, and it's dope, and it's almost like a place that you couldn't mess up unless you really really tried. And these people really really try to screw up California. I mean, at bare minimum, Los Angeles is screwed. Los Angeles is lost. I mean, New York is bad. I mean, like, but and I mean, it's not like New York is much better. My hometown isn't much better than Los Angeles. There's no comparison here. I mean, but Los Angeles has beautiful weather around the clock. I mean, women like all over the place. You know, beautiful trees for the policies of or liberal policies like you see in more on display more than anywhere like California. to screw up a city like Los Angeles. I mean, like you're seeing a little bit of traffic here, uh, but what like I mean, this is probably the worst case that I've seen throughout like the live stream of this channel AXN News. Again, for you guys, please subscribe to him, who showed the curfew portion of the protest. You're seeing small gatherings like this, but they're largely being dispersed because more than anything, you're seeing a large police presence, helicopters throughout the night. And I'm gonna turn the stream off, so I mean the video, so I can look at live coverage of the Los Angeles riots. I'm gonna see if I find the stream on YouTube, give them a shout out. But going back to California politics, I mean, like on what's played out in a beautiful state. I mean, like even in the 80s, 90s, like every show I watched, California was the land where it was contrary to my hometown, like New York, the laid back, sun, good times, babes. I mean, the adoption of liberal politics um, has really torn that state asunder. I mean, the areas that I've gone to, I mean, I've gone to California a couple times, and I always go to the same area, Monterey, California area, basically, to visit a friend of mine. And those areas like that, I mean, you see a scattering of bums, but not like a San Francisco or Los Angeles. You don't see tents set up like in the area I go to. Basically, you don't see any tents at all because it's super ritzy. Like, really it's like a known area too. Like it's where they filmed the movie. I mean the show Big Little Lies. But it's super like upscale. Like as far as like there's like people's like second houses. Like it's like a beachy area, so you don't see like this kind of stuff. Like, and it sucks because those people could afford for tents not to be set up all over the place. The people with a lot of money, basically. But cities in California, every one of them is messed up. Every single city in California is messed up. Every single city in California has the gift and the curse of good weather. And every single city in California has the curse of being tent cities because of their good weather. Bums from all over the world, especially in America, know that if I move to California, no matter where I land, I'm gonna have good weather, which I don't have in New York City, which I don't have in a Montana. I can't set up and be a bum in Montana. I gotta go to California. So it has the curse of having good weather, in addition to the moronic liberal policies of allowing things like tent cities. And every city in California is a disaster. Let me see if I find any live stream. But you have a creep like that vampire Gavin Newsom, who has aspirations of running for the presidency of America. I mean, he's pretty much made a highlight reel of what Republicans and conservatives should show as campaigns for their own campaigns when they run for any political position in California. You want liberal policies? Look to LA. Look to what happened in LA over the summer. And I think I know right now in New York or in New Jersey, yesterday was like the first leg of our election season. I mean, like, so election seasons are probably happening in California as we speak. So thanks, Gavin Newsom. I mean, conservative politicians in California throughout should be thanking Gavin Newsom as we speak. I'm looking for a live stream of the protest. Again, the protest curfew has been lifted, if I'm correct. And I'm gonna look for a proper stream to show you guys what's transpiring as we speak. I'm my prediction is the only one I see is a Fox News one. I mean, and it looks like Karen Bass speaking. Well, if they show anything of I'll keep looking too, and once I get a good one, I'll show you guys. But my expectation is that there is nothing gonna be popping off. Yeah, this is the Reuters showing this bridge. So it seems as if nothing is popping off. In addition to really foggy weather, which I didn't predict or I didn't anticipate, being that Los Angeles is known for their fantastic weather. But alas, the day is early. It's still 6 a.m. California time, and my prediction is that the conditions that were retained throughout last night, which was pretty much calm. There was no real uh, gatherings, no large groups assembled anywhere. You saw just people moving to and from, looking for the probably look at one of the kittens here, the strays. This is Grizzly, Grizzly, Grizzly. He's the nicer one. Oh, he's actually getting adopted on Thursday. Say hi, Grizzly. Let me zoom the camera out. Say hi, Grizzly. Hold on. Sorry, people. It's okay, Grizzly boy. See, this is he was a stray 2 days ago. The his brother is still a little bit mean though. Grizzly, look at your sweet boy. He's getting adopted on Thursday tomorrow. Look at these fantastic feet. Look. Sorry. Look is how do you deny a face like this? Tell me, my people. Look at this fantasticisms that's happening right now with this fantastic. Look at these paws. Woo! Beautiful little cat. But he's getting adopted on Thursday, Mr. Grizzly boy. All the cats in my area look like this, like kind of like fluffy, like the stray cats. I feed stray cats. We got to work on Grizzly boy's brother. He's a look at it. Here you go. He's super sweet though. You're a good boy. You're a good boy, you baby. Sorry. Anyhow, um, my prediction is that the conditions are gonna go back to how they were this evening. Oh, Bruce Gas, my first comment of the day. Thank you, Bruce. And I thank you because I want to know like if I'm getting comments or not. This is Trump seeing just how far he can use his army against the people. And I wouldn't discount that notion because again, like I've been saying earlier in this stream, like California last night, in essence, stopped the rioting that was happening throughout the weekend and over these last 6 days. You didn't see they put the curfew into effect. Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, and the results were that there was no rioting while that curfew was in effect. Things during the time of that curfew, these last 8 hours have been calm. So, and that's without the use of the military. So, my hope is that right now, like the curfew has been lifted, and it seems as though things are calm. I'm gonna look at a see if I find any live streams. But so, as of right now, there doesn't seem to be anything happening, unless like in these Los Angeles protests, and that's because of the efforts of not the military but the authorities in California, pretty much the highway police, California police at large, Los Angeles police, so they could retain that same effort, same manpower, whatever it takes, and just keep the conditions calm throughout the evening. That's my expectation. I mean, that's my prediction. I think so. In essence, like the rioting, my hope is that it's gonna stop without the use of the military. Having said that, though, Trump did call in the military, and the number of troops that he did call in numbered about 3,000, and he had the capability of calling in a ton more from troops that are at his disposal, being that he's the commander in chief, that are placed near Los Angeles in Southern California. But total, all in all, like in spite of 5 days of rioting, in essence, Trump called in uh, less than 3,000 troops. So I would say that that's not, uh, the makings of a tyrant as far as that action went. And I mean, like, it seems as if the California authorities, more important than all, are dicking around when it comes to stopping this protest. They have the capability themselves, as you saw throughout the time of this curfew that the Los Angeles mayor put into play. They have the capability of stopping the rioting and the destruction that was happening these past 5 days. And my hope is that this is the end of the rioting. I don't want an escalation. Like, I don't need that for my entertainment. And like, I don't want an escalation so that I can make liberals look bad. I don't want, like, if I have to make liberals look bad, I mean they do that by themselves anyway. But if I had to choose, like, do I if should it, like, Los Angeles, a city I really don't care for, honestly. Do I want Los Angeles to get destroyed in order for people to notice how bad California is doing? I'd rather California not be destroyed, frankly. I know what it is for New York whenever there has been rioting, like in the last since 2020. I mean, like, that's like that was the only time that I saw large scale rioting in New York City, consistently. But when like, it may not be my hood necessarily, but if I go to a Manhattan, let's say borough, which I don't live in, but that I have to frequent, and I see pharmacy that's tore up, even if it's like a corporation pharmacy, like a Dwayne Reed or a Rite Aid or a Walgreens, I mean, it still sucks. Like, people still have to use that pharmacy. Like, some guy that works like near that area that has nothing to do with nothing. I mean, like, he's still gonna want to go there, and he's still gonna have to see things looking crusty. So I mean, I don't like that. But I rather things not turn into riots, because I and things could get out of hand. Honestly, like, a cop shoots some moron, and you know the things could escalate in one direction. Some cop gets something done to him, like, or military personnel gets something bad done to them or hurt in this process, and that's no victory. So I don't want things to escalate, believe me. But do I want a stop to the rioting? Certainly. And California has the capability of doing that. I mean, right now there's rioting that is trying to activate in New York City, like where I live. Um, I don't know if this is live, but this is some Indian live stream. This is probably from last night though. Yeah, this is. I put that Reuters stream where they were showing that bridge, and it seemed as if it was daytime was breaking out. But California, again, they have the capability of stopping these riots, like they did last night. So it shouldn't take the Trump's military to step in and intervene. But will California's policies, like the curfew policy that they put into effect last night, be continued to be used for rioting? I don't think so. I mean, like, they want, they probably, if politically right now, I mean, like, the liberals, like, I mean, their MO is basically, let's try to make Trump look bad. Like, let's try to get Trump into some sort of trouble. Politically, these people don't have the capability of winning an election probably anywhere in this country the way things are looking. I mean, like, their prospects are dwindling. You know, the liberal politics is getting really, really played out in America as a whole. And it's not just me. But their only move is, as far as policy and their prospects go in winning an election, is for Trump to look bad. And besides that, I mean, what's Gavin Newsom's political future as of today? Do you think he's gonna have any shot of winning a presidential election, like, which is what he's intending? I don't think so. I see more of a future in which people are going to be really angry, to say the least, with the Gavin Newsom and many of the liberal politicians throughout. But so with the Gavin Newsoms and the liberal elites of the world, like, I mean, what political move do they have left? Like, outside of this, I mean, outside of a riot turning evolving into something else, like to try to give Trump's sort of black eye. I mean, it seems like Trump, like every move that Trump has been making doesn't seem as if it's received negatively. I mean, and if they are, I mean, like an issue like immigration or like an issue like deportation. I mean, people are quickly turning around what their feelings are, and you're getting more and more people that are in favor of deporting criminals. Whereas before, I mean, you would get people arguing deportations in mass because they feel that Trump was for deportations in mass. That's how NPC people are nowadays, where they can't walk in true bubblegum in a sense, can't hold two conflicting points simultaneously. I mean, they just see Trump and um, they go on that. This is Gavin Newsom talking.
A heavily Latino suburb. A similar scene played out when a clothing company in other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken. Families separated. Friends, quite literally, disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their
I hate when they say
constitutional right
Angelenos.
to free speech.
It's always
and
white
assembly,
people that say that
to
too.
protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest. We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement. But this, again, was different. What then ensued was...
Actually, I'm gonna start this from the beginning. And I'm using this is for educational purposes only.
Including the fact that the president did.
This is I'm utilizing a Fox clip. Start from the beginning. Again, this is what the Democrats are running out as the opposition to Trump in a presidential election, or to a Trump candidate. To correct myself. This is Gavin Newsom.
These anti-ICE protests.
Yes? No? All right. It's coming on in a few minutes. A lot more pretty newswomen now of late since this election. Just something I'm noticing. A lot more beautiful women on TV now. They can show beauty now.
few words about the events of the last few days. This past weekend, federal agents conducted large-scale workplace raids in and around Los Angeles. Those raids continue as I speak. California is no stranger to immigration enforcement, but instead of focusing on undocumented immigrants with serious criminal records and people with final deportation orders, a strategy both parties have long supported, this administration is pushing mass deportations, indiscriminately targeting hardworking immigrant families, regardless of their roots or risk. What's happening right now is very different than anything we've seen before. On Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people, a deliberate targeting of a heavily Latino suburb. A similar scene played out when a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken, families separated, friends quite literally disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest. We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement.
Yeah.
But this, again, was different. What then ensued was the use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets illegally and for no reason.
It's not that
This
many.
brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began.
Peace, Andrew
He doubled
Davis.
down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose. As the news spread throughout LA, anxiety for family and friends ramped up. Protests started again. By night, several dozen lawbreakers became violent and destructive. They vandalized property. They tried to assault police officers. Many of you have seen the video clips of cars burning on cable news. If you incite violence, I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account. That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated, full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested, and we're reviewing tapes to build additional cases, and people will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Again, thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown. But that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement. We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in LA, not in California, not anywhere. We're seeing unmarked cars in
Gavin Newsom is telling you that he trusts Angelenos more than he trusts the U.S. Marines.
streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in LA, not in California, not anywhere. We're seeing unmarked cars in school parking lots, kids afraid of attending their own graduation. Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses. That's just weakness masquerading as strength. Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities, they're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts. Just yesterday, we filed a legal challenge to Donald Trump's reckless deployment of American troops to a major American city. Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles. If some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves, but they do not stop there. Trump and his loyalists, they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th? Ask everyone. Time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault on American tradition. This is a president who in just 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud. He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases quite literally are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations, and he's assaulting the First Amendment. And the threat of defunding, at threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's targeting law firms and the judicial branch that are the foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason than to, in his own words, for getting elected.
Thank you for coming through, Sandy. Peace, Contracti.
American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday, just as other failed dictators have done in the past. Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches
the other mean
of
kitten.
independent government.
Wolfie.
There are no longer any checks and balances.
He's still
is
feral.
nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the
hell's
rule
this green
of
screen
God.
thing?
The founding fathers, they didn't live, died. See this kind of moment? It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor.
What in
The
God's
most
name happened to
important
my
office
camera?
is office of citizen. At this moment,
I'm gonna leave the video playing while I try to adjust this green screen. I don't know what I did here. Trying to show off my stray kitten, but I'm gonna rewind it a little bit, and I'll let the audio play.
this is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, you said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen. At this moment, we all need to stand up and be held to account, a higher level of accountability. If you exercise your First Amendment rights, please do it peacefully. I know many of you are feeling deep anxiety, stress, and fear, but I want you to know that you are the antidote to that fear and that anxiety. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to him.
And that was the address that California Governor Gavin Newsom issued just last night.
Yeah, so that was last night's press conference. I believe that he tried to release some sort of video last night, and as if he was holding a press conference live, and there was a audio issue. I haven't seen that though. But again, he gave this blank statement, the vampire that he is, just this past evening. For those of you that came for Kittens, this is my the second of the two strays that I just caught. He's a little bit of a prick though, and he's still hissing a lot. This is the first time I talked to him this morning. Wolfie, you're so cute. Be nice, Wolf. Look, you hear him growling? Look. Let me put him in the mirror so you guys can see him. Be nice, Mr. Wolfie. Hold on. Come on, buddy. Why are you being so rude? He's cute. Yeah, what we do is we try to get a lot of strays fixed. But if they're kittens like this, people will usually adopt them in some cases. But there's a funny part to that I wanted to bring up in terms of the economy, in that I get a lot less and people that adopt kittens lately because everybody's broke. But going back to this California protest, that creep Gavin Newsom, that's the best that the Democrats have to offer in opposition to any sort of Trump candidate that will likely be running for president come 2028. Might be Trump himself, who knows. But everywhere you go throughout the New York City, which is a highly liberal place that I know and love and I grew up. I mean, there's a lot of people that are turning away from the moronics of liberal policy, and they're doing it with a vengeance. And myself, I was very liberal in my my political thinking, probably 2015, or what was then considered very liberal, to where now, I mean, I feel like every liberal is a stranger, because most of anybody that's calling himself a hyper liberal nowadays, that usually means that they just hate Trump, that their life is motivated on their compass politically and in life is that they hate Trump. And there were many people like that in New York and throughout the world. And in 2020, I've been dealing with them for the last 10 years. I mean, but in 2025, their crying is getting really played out. And it's one thing, to try to guilt white people into feeling away, but minorities like myself, the so-called minorities, I ain't no minority, but I'm Puerto Rican, and most of my friends are either black or Dominican. I don't even hang out with Puerto Rican dudes that much in New York, even though I'm a New Yorican. But coming up, most of my friends were black and Dominican, from my street. And many of them, I mean, would look at me funky when I would tell them that I would not wanting Biden to win and not wanting Kamala to win. But that conversation started changing. The more migrants poured into New York City, the more that I had a lot of people who voted liberal, but weren't raised liberal, especially what liberals turned into in 2020 and beyond, who are now politically conservative, and they're not the kind of they didn't feel white guilt before they made that change, and now they're so-called black conservatives. so-called Puerto Rican conservatives, and they're very upfront with their conservatism. And like the people I know, these wouldn't be people that you would consider a pussy. Was what I'm trying to say. So you're not gonna like guilt them and try to like in a political discourse in a barber shop, let's say, you're not gonna get cutesy on them and like try to get into semantics in a political debate, or try to get cute with definitions like in a political discourse, or try to frame somebody as a racist when you're debating some rough looking Puerto Rican dude from the hood, or some black dude that may have voted for Trump this past election because he can't stand seeing his own hood invaded by migrants. You're not gonna try to frame them, being some skinny white liberal who's paying $3,000 worth of rent in some gentrified building. Because you wouldn't even be talking to people like that, honestly. Like these white liberals don't talk to no black people in New York. Like, let's be 100% honest. Unless they're ordering food from them. Like, gentrified New York never deals with hood New York. And I've always been politically, I mean, that's when I started to change, because I was so opposed to gentrified New York. Because it was the gentrified New Yorkers that were bringing the rainbow type liberal policies while my son was still attending school, you know? And and this was more than 10 years ago, when and my son was the biggest opponent to it. And he's a preteen at this time, and I'm talking over a decade. So as to when I really started making the pivot away from that, and like gentrified New Yorkers, I mean, one like politically only wanted to work with minorities, but it was women. They never wanted to, like, it seemed like they always wanted to frame every narrative or every political narrative that they would push 10 years ago in New York City, in my neighborhood, uh, whereas it would exclude men from the picture. And I started noticing that. And, here I am, a dad. I'm not out of my son's life. I'm not out chasing hoes and, and I as speaking as a concerned father, which there weren't many of my ilk, I guess, or what they thought, these liberal policymakers that I would deal with, or these liberal pushers would frame you out in a sense, because there weren't many of you as far as people that were concerned dads, if you will. So it was tough to navigate. I mean, like, I get every road I've had to cross, in a sense, has to take some politicking or some okey doke, trying, like, where I have to try to undo, if you will. And that was one of them. That was the reason why I homeschooled my son. And I homeschooled my son in the 7th grade. And that was not easy at all. And a lot of people gave me flack as I was doing it, like friends and family, like, oh, you ain't gonna be concerned about him not being around society. I think the results are very clear. I made the right choice in that one. Society is screwed. And most of the large change that has happened in society these last couple of years is on the back of liberal talking points, honestly. It's basically like making some sort of adjustment to your life because of trying to make some sort of liberal happy, like online or some shit, or like some liberals constantly pointing out, the wrong in what you're trying to like say, like, and it's a joke, like, it's only one emotion in political discourse, and it's basically that emotion is how liberals are reacting to said issue. Not that I'm pro conservative, because I think conservative politicians are a bunch of losers for the most part, besides Trump, um, and a handful of others. But like, and it's more in policy issues in which I don't agree at times. Like, I think conservatives are there just to lose to liberals. And I mean, like, if now 2025 is no clearer. Like, I mean, nothing that liberals have tried to implement has been popular across the board, but conservatives have, in some form or another, caved to many of these things these past 10 years. And I say 10 years as to when things have really progressed into ridiculousness. I always look at the end of or around the end of like when auto tune music was really popular, like that song Party Rock or I Got a Feeling by that shit group Black Eyed Peas. The end of that era was like the end of like the good times in my sense. And that was like around the time that I took my son out of public school and homeschooled him. But since then, politically, it's been some sort of kowtowing to some sort of dumbass liberal idea. Um, Regardless of where you stand in life. And I've been I've come up like as in, in large part like, where you really shouldn't cave into stuff that you don't agree with. And by hook or by crook, many liberal things have been really pushed in a sense where it's almost taboo to like not cave in, and that's to me unacceptable. Like I've on it, it's led me into in a sense hermitry. Like I don't really like dealing with people like in general because I know where it'll lead to arguments, and I'm not like a tough guy or nothing like that. But I mean, like to be called like let's say a racist, like or so for somebody to imply like, hey, like listen, like because you don't want Biden to win, you're racist. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican through and through. In addition to the fact that I have my brother's grandkids that are black, cousins that are black, my best friends are black, Dominican, and some crab that may be 10% like black and fucking 5% Cherokee, like by some online search he did, like will call you a racist, like because online, if you will, because of the fact that you don't want liberal politicians like running whatever quadrant of your life you live in. And that's only coming in one direction. I mean, like if you tell, like it's not politically acceptable. Like if you were saying, "Oh, I wanted Joe Biden to win," for somebody to say, "Oh, well, like, yo, you're aligning yourself with rainbows," you know, to like it's very hard. I mean, I mean, it's a tough choice, but I think I'd rather be if somebody were to say like that you're aligned with rainbow politics than with racist politics. I think I'd take more offense. I would take a lot more offense to somebody saying that you align yourself with rainbow politics than to be called a racist, like a lot of liberals are prone to do, just on the basis of that you don't want their politicians to win. Like they will tell you, like I rather you vote for somebody like Joe Biden, who your eyes could clearly tell is a vegetable, and you're a racist if you vote against a vegetable. You're a racist if you notice that Joe Biden, uh, is brain dead, and that's coming from one direction. I mean, like it's not. I don't see many instances in which somebody were to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden," and for like somebody who's more conservative in their thinking would start like slinging off, "Oh, well, you vote with rainbows," like like you're one of those people that vote with rainbows too. Whereas liberals all the time, like, I don't want Joe Biden. Oh, you must be one of the MAGA people, like, or you must be one of them racist, like, it's a joke. But largely, the good thing is that it's getting played out. Like, ain't no like victims here because a lot of that stuff it doesn't happen like in real life. Like and even though I'm an old man, but I go to college recently or attending college, and I see a lot of these kids who are like younger than my son even, and even if it gets to like political discourse, um, I don't like really try to push my points very often in a setting like that, like college setting, let's say. But things don't get out of hand where people try to frame you as like racist or whatnot either. That's like more of like online, and to be frank, a lot of people live solely on online, so it does. Um, there is some relevance to all this, as far as like you just feel like as if you can't even talk in a sense. You just feel like sequestered, and rather not things turn into a heated debate. And in large part like turns into heated debates because of the reactions of people defending liberal principles in every walk of life. The people that really incite stuff are usually people that are pumping liberal principles. But like we're at an inflection point too. Like I mean, like with everything in life, I mean, like I think decisions become more like where you're really responsible as to what happens to you and your family in the next in the see, now my camera's not working at all. In the next, oh, here it is. Yeah, that the this is a live shot of a bridge overlooking like LA. It seems like it's foggy. I mean, like, that will probably quell a lot of the rioting in itself, like because the conditions aren't ideal. And most of these rioters are lazy liberals too. They probably rather come out in the sun, or the prospect of rain will probably keep them in the house. But I'm hoping that again, there's not much rioting. Oh, that's Grizzly, the kid. But my hope is that they continue the curfew conditions that we're implementing last night, and not instituting a curfew throughout the day. I mean, like that's, but to keep the conditions as far as the high police presence, not without using having to use the military, and that in itself will stop the rioting, similar to what it did last night. Um, that's my hope. My expectation, I mean, should it be left to the California authorities, we're gonna go back to rioting. Maybe not today, probably soon. But thus far, I mean, like, will Trump have to increase military presence? Doesn't seem as if it's necessary at the moment, but it seems like that's a decision based on like what the authorities in California, like Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, and most of all the governor of Los Angeles, Gavin Newsom, as to what moves they make. Will they allow the conditions of riots to continue throughout the week and today? I think it's Wednesday. We'll soon see. But with that, I'm gonna be taking off soon. I gotta attend to these kittens. I'm gonna try to do an interview today, actually, with a fantastic channel. According to Sam, it's according the number 2 and the word Sam. Hopefully, I can get him on the channel and have a conversation. Uh, but I'm gonna try to reach out to him. If I don't have him on today, I'll have him on sometime later this week. But I'm gonna try to make that happen with good brother out of I believe California. But with that, I'll let you guys. I'll leave you guys here. Say goodbye to the kittens. This is the. I'm gonna try to grab the angry one again. Listen, enough. Enough. You're so cute. Look at that. Enough. He's always hissing this one. Ow. Sorry. Yeah, we found him 2 days ago, him and his brother. This one's getting ready to get adopted. He's very sweet. But little Wolfie here needs work. But with that, I'm gonna leave you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for stepping into the File Playland with me. I just eclipsed my 500 subscriber mark. I didn't think I'd get here, YouTube algorithmically has been screwing me since the day I started talking politics. But you guys could help this channel grow by being here, commenting, subscribing, and most of all, commenting. Like, honestly, I like to have conversations rather than just babble. But with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.